I think we can all agree that Nvidia has lost their freaking mind when it comes to the pricing of their GPUs. But you didn't click on this video to listen to me complain about the price of the 4070 Ti. So let's get into its VR performance, shall we? Usually, I like to start with the easy to run games and work my way up to the more demanding ones. This time around, I figure why not start with the big boys and then go from there. The most demanding VR game I own is Microsoft Flight Simulator. And as this game always does, this game gave the 4070 Ti a very nice workout. With the render resolution in the Oculus app set to 4128 by 2096 and the in-game settings set to what you see on screen now, the 4070 Ti churned out a pretty solid 90 FPS in my favorite training flight over Sedona, Arizona. As you can see on the performance headroom graph, we were right on the edge of the 4070 Ti's capabilities here. So once we switched over to New York City, we weren't able to maintain that frame rate any longer, and the compositor dropped our frame rate in half in order to keep delivering frames at a consistent interval. Performance fluctuated quite a bit here, as you can see, with the frame rate dropping into the 30s at times and jumping up into the 80s at others. For the most part though, the frame rate stayed around 45 FPS, which for Flight Simulator ain't all that bad. The second most demanding game I own and love testing with is Lone Echo 2. My favorite resolution to run PC VR games at with my Quest 2 is 4704 by 2384 because it delivers sharp, crisp visuals, and the 4070 Ti has just enough horsepower to run this game at that resolution at 120 Hz with all the in-game settings other than anti-aliasing and the resolution scale set to their maximum values. This game is gorgeous, and the 4070 Ti handles it like a champ. Next up is Assetto Corsa. With the great performance I saw in Lone Echo 2, I decided to try this one at the same resolution and refresh rate, once again with all the in-game settings maxed out. For the most part, the 4070 Ti gave us a solid 120 FPS throughout the entire in-game benchmark, but there were some situations it wasn't quite able to keep up and our frame rate would drop down momentarily. As for what I experienced in the headset, I honestly didn't notice the frame rate drops. Had I not had the performance graph sitting right in front of my face, I'm pretty sure I would never have known it happened. Since we were right on the edge of the 4070 Ti's performance capabilities at these settings, I lowered the refresh rate to 90 Hz, and as expected, the game was rock solid and silky smooth. 3 years after its launch, Half-Life Alyx is still the best VR game I've had the pleasure of playing. Visually, it's stunning, and gameplay-wise, I've yet to see its equal. The 4070 Ti delivered an absolutely fantastic experience in this game. I was pretty well able to max everything out. I set the render resolution to 4704 by 2384, the refresh rate to 120 Hz, and the game's performance setting to ultra fidelity. And as you can see, the game looks absolutely amazing. Just as a quick side note, even if my PC is capable of it, when I'm actually playing games and not benchmarking them, I never run them at 120 Hz. I always set them to 90 Hz because to me, that's plenty good enough. Also, when running games at 120 Hz with the Quest 2, you burn through your battery in like an hour. And who plays PC VR for only an hour? Come on. But for those running other headsets capable of higher refresh rates than 90 Hz, and of course to see just how far I can push a particular GPU, I test at 120 Hz and let you know if that GPU can do it, which, as you've seen, the 4070 Ti can. Obviously, the 4070 Ti can't deliver all this performance on its own, though. So for those of you wondering, paired up with our Gigabyte RTX 4070 Ti gaming OC is the Ryzen 7 5800X3D and 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3600MHz CL16 RAM. For these tests, I'm using Nvidia's 531.79 driver, and resizable bar has been enabled. In most areas of the game, the 4070 Ti had no problem at all running Red Matter 2. There are a couple areas I know of, though, that have some more complex lighting effects going on in them that I've found really push GPUs to their limits, so naturally, those are the places I go to see exactly what a GPU can do in this game. This area with these rockets is the first one I go to, and as we approach this window, you can see our performance headroom very quickly drops down, where it's fluctuating between 10 and 20% or thereabout. And then when I activate the laser scanning tool, that pushes things a little bit further, and right here I was able to get it to drop below 0 and affect our frame rate a little bit. The other area in the game that taxes GPUs quite a bit also involves a window, and the 4070 Ti handled this little test really well at the settings I used. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is the first game I tested where the 4070 Ti was able to completely max out all the game settings, except for anti-aliasing, at 4704 by 2384 at 120 Hz. In the games we've looked at so far, I was able to max out most all the settings, but wasn't able to bump the in-game render scaling up more than 1 or 2 notches. In this game, though, I was able to throw the pixel density slider all the way to the right and still get very good performance. Like Red Matter 2, Saints and Sinners has a few places I know of that push your GPU harder than others, and that's here in the bus when looking at the map, and at the swamp skiff here at night. One thing I've noted about this game and other GPU reviews is almost every time you encounter a walker, no matter how powerful the GPU is, the frame rate drops in half for a while, and then comes back. As you can see, the 4070 Ti was no different in this regard. While I haven't played it much recently, Contractors is still my favorite VR shooter. If you like Call of Duty and want to play it in VR, Contractors is where it's at. Contractors isn't all that difficult of a game to run, and the 4070 Ti effortlessly delivered 120 FPS with all the game settings maxed out and anti-aliasing set to high. The next few games you could pretty well run on a potato, and as expected, the 4070 Ti handled them all without any issue. Vader Immortal was no challenge whatsoever for the 4070 Ti. Beat Saber with all the in-game settings maxed out looked amazing and ran great. And Pavlov, same thing. The game looked fantastic and ran at a silky smooth 120 FPS with all kinds of performance headroom still available. The easiest game to run by far just so happens to be the newest game of all the ones I tested. Breachers is a game I've been having a lot of fun playing lately. And it's pretty obvious to me this game was originally designed to run natively on the Quest 2 because the 4070 Ti had no trouble at all with this game. Like all the other games, I ran it at 4704 by 2384 at 120 Hz. The only graphic setting you can change in the game is anti-aliasing, and because of the way it makes things look blurry, I like to turn it down or completely turn it off. And in this game, I left it at 2x. As you can see, we had a ton of performance headroom left in this game. So yeah, the 4070 Ti is a little overkill for this one. If you feel spending $800 for a 4070 Ti isn't making Nvidia rich enough, then there's always the $1,200 RTX 4080, which you can check out in this video. Or if you're just curious how the performance of a 4070 Ti stacks up against the 4080, you can watch the video and see what kind of performance gains you get for that extra $400. Subscribe!